time for another battle report. Basic Impetus. Thought I'd throw another one together. Try and change up the armies a little bit this time, and I thought I would pit the Feudal Scots against the Feudal French. Something I haven't tried. Gotta give those English a break since their dice rolling sucks as of late. So yeah, gotta lay out the table yet. Decide attacker and defender and take a look at the armies. First up, we got the Scots, and this is the look of their army so far. They have a unit of nobles, which are heavy cav. We've got 6 units of pikes. That's the bulk of their infantry. And once again, we got a unit of light infantry armed with short bow bees, and next to them, skirmishers with short bow bees. So that's the Scots. And taking a look at the English, the French. They have 2 units of heavy foot with long spear. That'll be good against the enemy's nobles, and that's about it. They got 3 units of knights. The one on the far left is the general. They're heavy cav. And then we've got 3 units of skirmishers, and one is crossbow B, and the other 2 are short bow B. So there you go. Okay, let's roll for the attacker and defender. Okay, now let's make the attacker defense roll. And in this game, the Scots will be the black dice and the French will be the white. And as you know, determining attacker and defender is a 2d6 plus the number of mounted units in your army. So the French will be adding 3 and the Scots will be adding 2. So let's see what the French get. And the French get 2. Double 1. You saw it, folks, right there. And the Scots get 6, 7, 8. Well, whatever. They are definitely the attacker. So the French will be defending, and they will be laying the table out and deploying their forces first. Okay, folks, be back. The armies are deployed. The French deployed first, and they're on the left. And on the right we have the Scots. They deployed second. And here's a look at the table. There's 4 pieces. We got this woods up here in the corner. That road and hill. And over there we have a small hill. Now I did put down some lichen, some stones, a tree here and there, and all these little fields, these open fields, they're to be ignored for movement and line of sight, shooting, so on and so on and so on. I just put them down there for looks, you know, kind of fill up the table a little bit, make it look a little more interesting. Okay, let's go over the deployments and see what's going on. Okay, for starters, here's the Scots, and they have formed on the right here. They have a large unit of pikes, flanked by the light infantry with short bow B, and flanked on their side by another unit of pikes, and they're a large unit as well. And over here we have the nobles, preceded by a unit of short bow B skirmishers to protect them. And over here finally we have the final unit of Scots pikes, which again are in large units. So this will be a different experience for me. All the Scots are in large units, all their heavy infantry with pikes. And again, if you don't know the rules, if these guys move, if the pike blocks move, they are considered disordered automatically. However, they are not disordered when attacked on flank and rear. So that's the special rules for the Scots. They're large units. Okay, let's take a look at the French. Okay, from the French side of the battlefield, we have over here on their right flank 1 unit of knights, preceded by a skirmish unit of crossbows. I think they're crossbow bees. In the middle, we have the general, heavy cav. In front of him, we have 2 units of heavy foot. They do have long spears, which are only really useful against knights and cav mounted troops, which there are some over there in the Scots. And the 1 unit of heavy infantry is preceded by some skirmishers, short bow B. And flanking the hill on the left is the 3rd and final unit of heavy cav knights for the French, again preceded by skirmishers, short bow B. And I don't know, looking at it so far, I'd say the French might play a little defensive. They have a nice strong position on that hill, and they've got a strong reserve with their knights, their general there. So maybe those Scots pikes will come up that road and try and get over that hill. We'll see what happens with that. I think the large units have an advantage, but it might balance out with the fact the French have the high ground. So we'll see. Of course, the Scots don't have much shooting going on. They just have that one unit of skirmishers over there and one unit of light infantry. So nothing really to worry about. The French do have skirmishers in front of this unit and that unit too. That'll help protect them. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I got the French kind of spread out a little bit too. Okay, we'll see if the pikes can make to that hill and drive the French off, or see what develops on the French flanks. Maybe the French can envelop the Scots. They are going to be kind of slow moving. Okay, folks, let's go to turn 1, go to initiative, and see what happens. Okay, might as well make this initiative roll. Again, French are white. Both sides roll 2d6 and add +2 because their generals run field. And the French get 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, and the Scots, which are black, will get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So initiative goes to the Scots. Okay, folks, be back with their turn. Turn complete. The Scots began the turn by advancing their pike blocks forward, disordering all 3 of them, and the rest of their troops. They'll basically just move forward. There was no shooting too far away. And then over here for the French, they basically stood in place. They didn't move at all. There was no shooting that would be effective at this range. For the short bow Bs and stuff, they usually are restricted to like 10 units range unless it's against mounted troops where it's 20. So they got to get a little closer to be more effective. But they did advance this unit of knights forward with their skirmishers, crossbowmen, who also are just too far away. Okay, let's go to turn 2, folks. Just finished turn 2, and once again initiative went to the Scots, which again they made a general advance. Their pike blocks are still disordered, as you can see by the red rubies. There is one pike block in the middle there that is making use of that road, and it's getting a little extra movement. So, hence you can see how it's keeping up with the cav and the light infantry over there in the middle. Let's see what else. Shooting was ineffective. The French, they advanced their skirmishers that were leading these units. This unit of knights took some shots, did nothing, and their skirmishers up there came off the hill, down on the road, and their shooting was ineffective as well because they were moving. Okay, so that's it. We're going to turn 3. Nothing eventful yet, folks. There's turn 3 complete. Let's see. I believe the Scots once again got the jump, got the initiative for the turn. Let me see what happened here. They're light infantry up here, the impetuous ones with short bow B. What they did is they kind of wheeled out of the line and charged into these French skirmishers up here and kind of bounced off them. They didn't do much, actually. Disordered for their trouble, and they did take 1 damage, 1 permanent loss to their VBU, so they had to retreat, which is their current position. Of course, the skirmishers couldn't pursue. Excuse me. As you can see, the French skirmishers have also advanced up, and they're taking their shots on the enemy advancing. No damage. Of course, this pike block here can't move any forward because of the retreating light infantry now is in the way, and they can't interpenetrate them. So it's going to take some wheeling if they want to do that. So they held their position on the road, took away their disorder by rallying, and the rest of the Scots troops advanced where you see them now. So it looks like their nobles are in a position to get to grips with the French infantry on that hill. See what happens. Down here, they're very, very close to the French skirmishing crossbowmen down here. I think the crossbows were ineffective against them in fire, nothing major. And their knights, the French knights, are still holding position in that little field there, you can see. So that was turn 3, folks. Nothing big yet, but it's getting close. Turn 4 up next. Turn 4 just completed. A lot more action this time. Started with the French, who really didn't move off their butts and off the hill, but they did do some shooting. Relatively ineffective. And the Scots, a little bit pissed off at the whole situation, decided we're going to do some attacks. So they started moving up, doing some charges. Down here, their pike block charged and defeated the French skirmishing crossbows. As you can see, they are routed. But they did take quite a bit of damage. Pretty amazing, actually. Their back rank took 3 VBU damage, and the whole thing is disordered as well. In the middle, the nobles for the Scots are basically holding back a little bit. Their skirmishers did shoot some arrows up at the infantry on the hill, though. Again, not effective. And the rest of the Scots, their pike block in the middle there, also engaged the enemy skirmishers in melee. Could not manage to break them, but did manage to put them at -1 VBU, and both are disordered. Their impetuous light infantry, right there, they also they engaged the enemy in front of them there, those skirmishers over here. And they were able to actually hit them at one point and support the pikemen on their right. But they could not disorder or damage those skirmishers. So the French really lucked out in this turn. A lot of good dice rolling. And I think they actually threw the one pike block into retreat over there on the right with, again, 3 VBU loss. So the French skirmishers are holding their own. They're holding that line. We'll see what happens in the next turn, folks. I think there's going to be some knights getting in the action pretty soon. Okay, turn 5 coming up, folks. Okay, folks, end of turn 5. Let's see what happened. Initiative went to the Scots once again, and let's see what they did. Starting up here, if you remember, their light infantry, which were impetuous, were up in here at one point. As you can see, they're gone, and I'll get to that. But they started the turn off by charging into 2 units of skirmishers and taking them out. So there's the result. 2 more skirmish units taken out. Of course, these pikemen here helped them out. That's about all they did up there. Their knights, getting a little bit impetuous as they are, their nobles rather, decided to interpenetrate through their skirmish screen and charge up the hill and take on these French spearmen on the hill. And of course, you would guess they fought to a standstill. Both sides being disordered, no permanent losses. So the French held their own there, to be expected. And these Frenchmen, heavy infantry, do have long spears, so it nullifies the French impetus bonus. Down here, I don't think anything happened down here during this turn with the Scots. But during the French turn, the French did charge from the field with their knights into this big pike block. And as you can see, it's now whittled down. It's no longer large. In fact, it is at -1 VBU and it's disordered. So yeah, the knights did manage to take out the rest of that unit. So that's gone. This is no longer a big unit anymore. So that's what happened there. I think they actually pursued again into those pikemen. But they're disordered too, and they both received 1 permanent loss each, both units. And that's what happened there. And I should also say that the French also made a move up here with their knights, which I forgot about, and took out the light infantry of the Scots. And that was a nice point gain. They're worth 2 VBUs, or 2 demoralization value. So the Scots have now reached 2 towards the total army demoralization, and the French are at 3. So it's still a pretty close game. Okay, folks, let's go to the next turn. Turn 6, I believe. See what happens. It's getting close. I think the side is going to be decided pretty soon. Okay, folks, thought I'd do something different for the next turn, which is turn 6. And I'll show you the results of each side during this turn. And I just finished the Scots turn 6. And a lot is going on here, folks. Let me see. Starting down here, there was a melee that these French knights were fighting against the remnants of the pikes that were here. Well, resolve that, the Scots lost. So as you can see, they lost their entire large unit of pikes. And that was worth 3 VDs. So that was a big loss. And they're now at 5. They lost their light infantry, which is worth 2, and the large unit over here, which is worth 3, so they're at 5. What else happened? They turned their skirmishers here, took a few shots at the French knights, ineffective. because they moved. What else happened? Right up here on the hill, started to resolve the combats. The pike block here engaged their counterparts of heavy infantry on the hill and managed to force them to retreat. So there's the French foot right there. This being on the road helped out, gave them a little extra move on their charge. Let's see, the nobles here, the Scots nobles, they charged the French heavy foot as well. The other unit that was here managed to defeat them in battle with these pikemen supporting them and routed those troops on the French side. So that was a loss for the French. So slowly the Scots are taking possession of that hill. But they did take some losses here. They're disordered and they have -1 on their VBU. So that's the end of the Scots' turn. In this unit up here, the pikemen, they rallied. Didn't otherwise do anything. So these Frenchmen are kind of like stuck. What do we do? Charge that pike unit or make a flank move on the other pike unit or what? So we'll see what happens with the French. But as far as army demoralization, both sides need to lose 8 before they rout from the table. And so far, both sides are tied at 5 VDs each. So 6, 7, 8, 3 more on each side, and that side will lose. So it's very close. Okay, folks, let's see what the French come up with. At the end of the French turn, and turn 6, and let's try as hard as they might. They could not finish off the Scots. They had plenty of opportunities, but just could not do it. Let me see here. First of all, I started over here with their French knights. And they did charge this pike block, which before was large. Now it's half-sized. It's only got 2 VBU left, actually, out of 4. They pursued, and they could not catch them. So they could not finish off that pike unit. Too bad, unfortunate. Up here, the French committed their heavy foot with spear up against this pike block. It was kind of, I didn't expect much success for them, but they managed to stalemate each other. And that was it, which gave the French general enough room to make contact with a charge straight forward into the nobles for the Scots, which is their general. And they fought a couple combats, caught him twice with a pursuit, and took him to only 1 VBU left. So the nobles, right here, have 1 VBU left. And, I don't know, too bad. The French knights, however, French general I should say, he is still fresh and has taken no disorder. So he's good to go. The only problem is there's a big cluster going on up here. They can't get at each other. If it wasn't for that melee going on up here, the French general could have made contact and finished off the nobles on the Scots. But one thing he did do is manage to reduce the effectiveness of those nobles. I mean, they're all but useless now. They have 1 VBU. And they're disordered. So I don't know what's going to happen. The French knights down here did manage to finish off the rest of that unit during their turn. The pike block, as you can see. Boom. And there's the other one. But that's only part of a large unit, so it isn't worth anything yet. So we're still at 5 demoralization points apiece that both sides have taken towards their demoralization value of their army. So it looks like one more turn. I would say maybe one more turn. Let's see, folks. It's very close. Okay, folks, that's the end of turn 7. And the French got initiative, which was lucky for them. Let's see, starting down here, they didn't really do much, taken pretty much out of the battle after wiping out that pike block that was in front of them. They basically turned, try and face something so they can fight just in case. The French knights up here managed to finally finish off the Scots pike block, the large one. So yeah, that sealed their fate right there. That put their VBU at exactly 8, their demoralization value for their army at 8, which is enough to break the Scots army. But the turn wasn't over, and you don't count that until the end of the turn. So the Scots still had a chance to try and break the French too, and see what happened. But yeah, so they reached 8 because of that. As far as up on the hill, French really couldn't do much. Basically, the French spearmen that were up here were previously in contact with these pikemen, Scots pikemen. So they basically just fought another round, were defeated, and the pikemen, Scots pikemen, pursued, but not far enough into the enemy general. And I think that was about it. But they did manage to finish off those French heavy foot up there. So they knocked another 2 points off of the French, which put them at 7 VD loss. One more and they would lose the game. Yeah. What else happened there? So the French really couldn't do anything. I think what happened is that their general shifted. He moved to the side, and then he activated his heavy foot, who fought and were defeated by the Scots, which opened up an avenue for his general to charge, but he already had activated in the turn by shifting, so he couldn't do anything. So that was a little mistake. So that was it. The only thing he managed to do was take out the rest of that pike unit up here with these knights, which gave him the victory. Then it went to the Scots' turn. Didn't have much to do. Everything was up on the hill, and they just threw everything at it. He charged with his pikemen and his general separately into my general, fought like madmen. These nobles there only have 1 VBU left, and they really didn't do much. Net effect, they could not finish off the French general. So that was that. It was a really good game. So it was like, let me see. The Scots managed to do 7 VDs of damage, and the French did 8 VDs. And that defeated the Scots. So victory goes to the French. And I have to say, these French knights are awesome. In Basic Impetus, they get like a 4 impetus bonus, unlike other knights who usually have 2. And they have a nice VBU of 7, as opposed to, say, 6 for the nobles and English knights. So it's pretty good all around. I mean, they managed to actually charge the Scots pike blocks, which are the bane of knights. But they managed to charge them head on and defeat them twice. One over here and one over there. And I think the reason for that had a lot to do because those pike blocks were disordered from moving and taking a lot of shots from the French. I mean, they definitely had damage from the previous turn, so they weren't up to par, you know. So it's a really good game. Very close. So there you are, folks. That's the battle. It was pretty fun. I liked it. It was very intense. I'm starting to get used to these pike blocks, but we'll see. It's going to take a while. Okay, folks. That was just a quick battle report. I hope you enjoyed it. I just wanted to try my feudal French against the Scots, see what would happen, since both of them kicked the tar out of my English in my past couple games. So I hope you enjoyed, folks. And if you have any questions about the game, let me know. And check out my How to Play Basic Impetus Series 2. It's up to part 2 currently. Alright, hope you enjoyed, folks. Talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.